we're good. Yeah, we can start if you want, Emily, and
We're gonna start?
yeah, if Sally joins in, she does. But
Sure. Okay. I'm not sure if you wanted to give a brief introduction or if I should, Bari.
you can go right ahead. We had so many meetings recently, so we're very used to seeing each other online right now. So we can.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know what? In that case, I'm probably going to spare the whole usual. Please turn off your microphones. Please do this. Please do that, because I'm pretty sure we've all become pros at this now, and we all know how it works. So, hi everyone. Welcome to this training. It's really nice to see those of you who I do know and those of you who I haven't met yet. And so, hi to the new youth group members, and hi again to Marlu, who has come back. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Emily. I'm the communications officer at EPF, and Dante on the line here is the communications manager. He oversees all activities at EPF, communications activities at EPF, whereas I mainly deal with social media and a couple of other bits and pieces. For example, we've got 2 newsletters. There's the monthly one, which is the big one, which goes out to everyone, and then we also have a weekly one, which just goes out to our members, and I usually take care of that myself. So now I've already done this presentation last year. So what I've done is basically give it a few tweaks. I've tried to update it, and I've also looked at your channels, because from what I've understood, you were looking for a more tailored and detailed training, not so much like something a bit general, but also something a bit more specific regarding, for example, types of content, what to post, what not to post. Is this okay? Is this not okay? So the way I see it, this is a very informal talk, chat, opportunity to ask questions at any time. Although I will ask you to, just for the sake of avoiding unintentional background noises, which may or may not be related to you, I do want to ask you to turn off your microphones, and then I will be opening the floor quite often for questions, and also to ask you what you think about a few things. So don't worry, it's going to be, I'm going to try and make it as interactive and not boring, because I'm also aware it's past lunchtime, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's very hot in some countries, so you know our concentration span might not be might not be full speed for everyone, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. We're all here now, but before we start, can I ask the new latest youth group members to turn off your microphones and briefly say a few words about yourself? I'd love to get to know you. So we've got Anastasia, Marlene, Erato, and Erin. Can we start with Anastasia? Maybe I'm just going through my screen here, and you're first.
Hi, so I'm Anastasia. I joined the youth group back in November, and I'm currently in Cyprus, but I study in the UK, and I'm recently become the vice president of the youth group as well. And I represent rare diseases and holistically. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I understand. By when I say new youth group members, I mean the ones that I haven't met yet, because some of you might not be so new anymore. But I think you got that. Marcus, I've already met. Jean, I also know really well. Malu, I know you too. Marlene.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Marlene, and I'm new. I'm a member of the European Institute for Women's Health. Also related to that, I might get a call that I have to take. Then I'm going to be gone for a couple of minutes, but then I'll come back.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm turning 25 next week.
Yay! Okay, we need to make sure to update our calendars for those ones as well. Actually, this is something we're going to discuss, you know, birthdays and things and how to show those on social media. So thank you for bringing that up. Erato?
Hi, so yeah, I'm Marato. I'm a high school student. I joined this year the youth group, and I'm from Cyprus.
Cool, welcome, and nice to meet you. Erin?
I'm Erin, I am 25 and I'm an epilepsy awareness advocate. I'm usually based in Belfast, but I'm at home in Wales with my parents at the moment, which is great because it means free food.
That is always great. Definitely. And I hope everyone's been coping well in lockdown. And now we're easing out of lockdown, but I hope everyone's been well and, coping these past few months. It hasn't been easy on anyone. And it's good that there have been several online initiatives that have brought us all together and, talk from time to time. That's always nice. So I hope everyone also feels that way. Okay, now, Bori, I'm going to ask you to help me, Borislava, because it's actually the first time share screen. I usually use Zoom. So, okay, right. If you can tell me if you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Wait, no, not yet. I'm just clicking on share. Now you can.
Yes.
Perfect. Can you now?
Yep.
Okay, then in that case, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see yourselves though, or can you just see the screen?
I can see everybody on the top of the thing, but I think that's fine. I mean, we can still see the screen in a big window below. So yeah.
Right. So because mine looks different. I want to. Oh, there we go.
Because you're the presenter.
Okay. So yeah, now that makes sense. Okay. Now depending on what your connections are like, you might want to turn off or turn on your webcams, but please turn your microphones off for the moment. So sorry, Bori, can you turn your mic on again to scroll? Yep. Do I just click? Yeah. Okay. Arrows. Yeah. Okay. Good.
You're good. Also, if the guys have any questions or something, and if you don't want to interrupt Emily while she's talking, you can also post them in the chat, and I'll keep track of the chat and ask the questions when Emily is done with the segment.
Yes, indeed, very good idea, especially if I'm rabbiting on and you think of a question and you don't want to interrupt and you don't want to forget about it, just put it in the chat room. Yep. It will make it much easier. So I'm just you will have seen it already. This is just a bit of background as to why it's important to talk about social media from time to time and why we do it and what the needs are. Basically, you will have all noticed that over the past few years and decades, generally the media landscape is changing. Over the internet, technology is advancing rapidly, so is journalism. Everything is changing, and pretty much we're bringing pretty much everything to our social media platforms. Another thing which we witness is information overload, which can actually be good and bad. I mean, it's good because this means we can all be very well informed. There's lots of different resources, and it's also good for freedom of information. We have enough information to make our own decisions, but it can also be less good because if there is too much of the same information, people can treat it as spam. It's also not good because there is a lot of repetition, and we might not want to see that. And also the fact that there is fake news. There can be fake news, so it makes it harder for people who read the news to distinguish what is real from what isn't. But again, this is very, very general. People's concentration span is decreasing because of the information overload. That means there is a lot, and people are much more likely to scroll through their Twitter to see what the latest news is, rather than buy a newspaper or read a newspaper online. Also, social media is free. I forgot to include this in this slide, but social media is free, so people prefer quick and free information rather than paying for online subscriptions. Also, I mean, we live in a very rushed society where people don't have the time to do things or don't want to read things in great depth. And there is, however, a good side, which is the fact that good social media and good messaging can add more credibility both to a person and to an organization, which is why we have social media for personal purposes. So we will have our personal profiles on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram, but our organization or our business or where we work should also have one too. And basically, the better the messaging is, the more accountable and the more credible you are as a person. This is what's this is my take on how we should look to social media, if you may, especially if we're working for an organization and we have to represent it. Now, I would now like you to turn on your microphones, but we should also at the same time be mindful of each other and try not talk at the same time somehow. why do you think we are on social media? And don't think about EPF for a second, just think about yourselves, and you can say, why do you have a personal account? What do you like to share on it, and why? And what is it that drives you to be active on social media? Anyone?
For me, I just have social media accounts because other people have social media accounts, and I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But would you say that you use it to keep track of people, or to look at other people's profiles, to read the news, or
Not really.
not really?
I
Okay,
use
well,
Facebook to watch the videos, but that's the only thing. And maybe some community things. So there is a plant swap Facebook group, which I use quite often. There is some groups which gives away stuff, so I can post stuff there that I want to get rid of, or maybe that kind of groups. But I'm not really. If you look at my profile, it's not really up to date.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, nowadays, actually, specifically to Facebook, Twitter, not so much. People like people like Facebook because it's useful. You just mentioned Facebook groups. Groups to buy and sell, groups to look for flats, groups to travel, groups which share advice on travel destinations, or which share career advice, or groups for expats in one country, groups for expats in another country. There are so many Facebook groups, and it's actually a very quick way of getting quick information rapidly. So that is a very good thing. And of course, watching videos. Again, we're going to talk about visuals and photos a little bit later in the presentation, but that is also very important. So I actually agree. Nowadays, people are finding these uses of Facebook more important and more popular than updating our own accounts, for example, like putting statuses or updating our pictures. Yeah, I completely agree. Anyone else? Does anyone have experience, well, with the exception of the EPF youth group, does anyone have any experience managing a social media page for your work or for an organization?
I do.
I think that you wanted to say, but go ahead. You don't have to. Yeah. When you want to say something, just go.
There was a competition about in high schools for young entrepreneurs and companies, and we created a company, and I was in charge of the social media page. It was quite fun, so I have that experience. Yeah.
Good, yeah. It is fun.
But you have to be strategic, yeah.
You have to?
Be strategic, like with your posts and your target groups. It had a lot of research before putting our posts for the public to see.
Right, definitely. Strategy is also something we're going to talk about. Was this just a Facebook page, or did you use Twitter as well?
We only had Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Because our target group, mostly Instagram, because high school students usually use Instagram.
I see. Yeah, no, fair enough. So yeah, essentially, we can use social media for two purposes, and this touches on what we've said already. So on our personal profile, we might want to share information. Usually if there's something we want to share, or a story or a picture or a fact or something we find interesting, but it's very personal. It's not necessarily in the interest of something else, or promoting a cause, or redirecting people to your work's event. It is something quite personal. You might want to share a story. Now we have, I'm assuming you're always familiar with Instagram and how stories work. The fact that they're instant and they disappear after a few seconds. Now Facebook has this option as well. This is also becoming very, very popular. Also promoting a cause that we believe in and that want others to support. That's another reason why people might want to use it. And asking our networks for opinions on something, and by giving their opinions, they're supposed to share and like and comment or retweet, for example. This is more common in Twitter than for Twitter than for Facebook. But this increases interaction. If I don't know if many of you follow news news outlets on social media, like the BBC, for example, they usually post articles. And the best way, I know this from a colleague of mine who works for the BBC, apparently the best way that they can get information about their users and insiders and people who read their articles is through the comments, which aren't always pleasant, and they're not always reliable. Then obviously with a free flow of information, you can get things like trolls and, you know, posts which spread fake news and disinformation, but they can also be very good. They can access the QuickTime information by looking at the comments simply. So actually, this, by using comments and by making people talk to you through the comments, is a very, very valuable source, which again we're going to talk about with regard to your channel. So professional. Now, yes, indeed. Why would professional companies or organizations use it? Because we can spread key messages very quickly and also for free. It's also good to expand your audiences. Again, especially Twitter, simply because Twitter has a feed which enables the followers of your followers to see what you're writing. And that means your message is being multiplied and it's being expanded, and it's usually very, very quick. So actually, if you want to reach out lots of people in very little time, Twitter is the way to go, more than Facebook, because Facebook is for more static messages and they're more timeless, so to speak. Receiving feedback from your audience in real time, again, we've already commented on this. And developing content, sorry, that's a typo, it's supposed to be content, not contents. And taking part in conversations or dialogues and answering questions and so on. So now we're going to talk about Facebook. Again, I would say, again, this is, I forgot to say this, guys. I would say that I have a degree in communications and I have extensive, I have a lot of experience with social media, probably 3 to 4 years. But I'm by no means an absolute expert. So this is just my take, and it's based on analytics. It's based on what I've seen people do on social media and how they've been reacting to my posts and things that I've been writing. Because I regularly, I like to have the habit of checking the analytics from time to time and seeing how people respond and what's popular and what isn't. So based on these trends, I keep track, and then I understand what would make a good message. So this is my take, and like I said, feel free to ask questions at any time or to suggest something different, because people can have very different experiences. So yes, fixed and timeless messages is how I would define content on Facebook nowadays. It means they have a longer lifespan. It means that if I go on your Facebook page, I will see, I'll be able to see access posts from a week ago in a few seconds, whereas for Twitter it might be harder, and there are more distractions because the Twitter the home feed the home page, so your Twitter feed gets updated more quickly, and it can be more difficult to keep track of information. Now, the language should be for your not for your personal channels. I'm now talking about the your youth group page and also EPF page. It should be informal but professional. What does that mean? It means that the register should not be entirely formal, but at the same time, it should not be. The jargon should not be too vulgar or street-like, if you may. And I'll give you a few examples in a minute. Times and frequency, I would say that 1 to 2 posts a week is a good number, especially for volunteers like yourselves who do not have the time to actually sit there and plan messages frequently. And in great detail. But this also very much depends on what you're doing. For example, you guys have had a busy month. You've had the spring meeting, you've had Stiper, you've had lots of things. So it has happened that I remember seeing more than 2 posts a week. And in that case, it's perfectly okay. It should be timely. It should match the activities in the events that you do. Content, right? Well, what can we how can we define the type of content you should post? I actually think your content is very, very good. It's very good because it touches on relevant EPF related activities, but also more useful elements such as selfies. I remember the post on National Selfie Day. I'm now going to talk about that specific post later, but that's a very good thing because selfies are for young people. It's a new word. It's something that's popular. It's something that's catchy. It's the kind of thing that I would expect to see on a youth group page. World Disease Days, those are very, very good. The ones that you keep doing, I would actually keep going with that. And I would keep following your calendar, the shared calendar that you keep, and then have them because they are popular and generally they're very well articulated. So yeah, I would say well done with that. Event promotion, especially if it's relevant to the youth group, for example, Stiper. And then again, interesting articles and content from member platforms. Again, the more related they are to the fact that you're a youth group, so the youth element again, the better. And content from member platforms. Now, for this, especially for the newcomers, I would recommend to frequently consult the members page. The members page is on our website. I can actually show you at the end of the presentation. We have a list of members, and they're usually Brussels-based organizations which represent which represent all diseases and chronic conditions, and they're also national coalitions. So if there is content, I would actually, my advice would be to look at the EPF page because we're very much in contact with our members. And if our members want something shared, Dante and I have a system whereby we update our own content calendar. We check the disease days, and there is a little tab next to each disease day specifying the member and whether there is a link to a specific page that the member wants us to promote. So that's usually what we do. We can't actually share the calendar with you guys because it's on the EPF server. So actually only EPF colleagues have access to it. It's not shared, but you can consult us anytime you would like to, or you feel that you haven't shared a members news in a while, or if you feel that you haven't seen anything on the EPF page about our members, you might want to say, hey guys, I just spoke to someone to the EFCA youth group. I know that the World IBD Day is coming up. There isn't anything on the content calendar. We haven't seen anything on their website. Are you guys doing something about it? Yes or no? That's absolutely fine. Suggested post structure, golden rule, guys. Message, link, video, and picture. If you share messages without links or without a picture, they will be much less effective. Again, people's concentration span is very, very short. People like to know exactly what the point is and why you're sharing it. If you're promoting something, there should be a link. Otherwise there is no proof. Otherwise the person will think, oh, okay, they're just writing this, but where's the actual report? If you say, for example, the EPF Youth Group have published the Ways report. It will be released soon, stay tuned. That's also fine, because if you don't have a link, that's fine, because you're telling your audience that there is something that's going to come up, and you're telling them to watch this space and to follow your channels. But if you just describe the Ways report, you summarize it in a few lines, and then you don't even link to the full one or share a picture, then it might be seen as, you know, useless, really. It might not really have a purpose. And pictures and videos, again, are very, very good, especially, again, going back to the concentration span. People get very distracted, so if they have a nice picture with colors, it's a bit silly to say this, but that is actually how social media works. So if you're ever in doubt, always picture or video. If you don't have a specific picture, there is something that I want to talk to you about, which again, I was thinking of sharing at the end of the presentation, which is the concept of stock images. Now, stock images are basically images that can be used or recycled and that are made available in stock for specific purposes. And you can download them off the internet. But very important, you need to make sure that they are free images and that there is no copyright on them. I have a couple. We have at EPF we have Adobe stock, and I think Borislava's already familiar with that, and she's already used it or heard of it. But if not, Bori, I will have to talk to you about this, because it's a very good resource that we have, and it comes with the Adobe package. And we've actually got lots of free images that sometimes we don't even use. So this is something we can do. But if for some reason you can't access the Adobe stock, there are also websites where you can download free images, and I will also be sharing them with you. Yeah, golden rule, of course. Yeah, so if you feel that you haven't really been posting that much on Facebook lately, and you feel like you need more activity or more engagement, if you're out of content, like I said, check the EPF website and see what we've been sharing. We're quite active on it. Or check our latest newsletter for content and articles which may be of interest to the youth group. And if you're ever in doubt as to their relevance or whether you should be sharing it or not, again, feel free to ask me or Dante or Borislava if the article is suitable. And then there are other sources like Lancet and BMJ, which are medical and scientific journals, which I think are very well written. They're very clear and they're very comprehensive, and we usually monitor them on very frequently. And then of course social media. Look at other people's Facebook pages, see what they're sharing. That's another very, very effective way of monitoring. Right, this is another tip. Again, recycling is fine. Don't be afraid to rephrase and to recycle. If you're promoting the Waze report and there is a key message inside the report, but the report is very long, don't be afraid to extrapolate it. Just take it and use it. Obviously, you have to make sure that the language is simple enough and accessible enough for your target audience, and your target audience being mainly EPF members and youth group members and ex-STIPA participants. Rephrase and recycle and simplify it. The scheduler. Now, if you this is another thing which actually I would show this one to you right now. So I'm going to exit this thing. If you don't have time to post, sorry, technical question, Bori, can I press on ESC and then not have this shut down? Wait, I'm just going to try. Okay, it's fine. Sorry, I don't. Thank you. I just wanted to show you the scheduler very, very briefly, because this is a very helpful tool. Let me just go on the EPF page. We use this all the time. We use this all the time, especially for the disease days and content which we already know that we're going to post beforehand. Now, you might already know how this works, but I thought a refresher might be useful just in case. Now, you want to go at the top of your, and obviously this only works if you are admins of the page. If you go at the top of your page and click on Publishing Tools, so now Facebook has put it under More tab, Publishing Tools tab. Here you can actually see the scheduled posts. But if you want to create something and schedule it, you have to create the post in the Publishing Tools app. So you create a post, you might write something here, and here you can decide when to share it. So you can share it now, or you can schedule it. If you can schedule it, you then select a time. The scheduler sometimes plays up, and I do not know I do not understand the reason for this. I have sometimes scheduled posts via the EPF page and also another Facebook page that I run, and it hasn't worked. So do give it a check from time to time, especially if you're only just starting on it, just to double check that the post has indeed gone out. Sometimes Facebook gets bugs. I think that's why they don't always work. But here you can select, here you can have your time, and then you can publish. Share now. I don't have the option now because I haven't written anything. So that's the scheduler. Right now we're going to move on to Twitter in a bit, and I will also show you how to schedule on Twitter. The procedure for that one is slightly different. So now, okay, do you have any questions at this stage on related to Facebook, I mean, not general ones, because now we're going to go more into detail about the actual content, and we're going to look at examples. But if anything was unclear until now, just let me know.
Hi,
Okay.
I have a question, quick one.
Of course.
Do you actually reach out to EPF members before posting about the disease day? So, or
no, we don't, because we actually have an agreement with EPF members that we always share whatever they want sharing, for example. And a good way to understand whether you can share something or not is if it's public information or if it isn't.
Yes,
I'm assuming you're asking this because recently you shared something from a non-EPF member. Is that correct?
Just for a general rule, whether we should we actually contacted the AFCO youth group before the disease day this year, and then we shared their post because we knew what kind of campaign they were preparing for the day. But the catch-22 with this kind of post is that before the day, you don't really know what they are preparing for.
Indeed, yes, and unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about that, because all members all work on a volunteer basis, and they're not actually entitled to always send us their information beforehand. Sometimes they forget, and we have to be proactive and we have to remind them. Sometimes we write to them via social media, via the inbox. Sometimes we well, actually, we regularly send them emails and reminders if they want something shared. Dante has started doing this actually this year. With every time we have a monthly newsletter, he reaches out to the communications officers of each member and he asks them if there is anything to share. And actually, we've been getting quite a lot of responses because people like to be reminded. Sometimes they might forget, and they might rely on us to be proactive and either ask them or directly search on their channels and see if there is something for that. For example, for EFCA, indeed, for IBD Day, I don't remember them sending us something beforehand, but we did promote it. What we probably did was go on their page on the actual day. We had to make a note of it and make time for it, and indeed see what they did. And then of course, you can automatically relay their information if they're an EPF member. They would appreciate it a lot. Yes, of course. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, perfectly. And it would be just a nice way to keep in touch with other youth groups as well, for us to kind of regularly check whether they would like us to share something. So that's something to consider for the future. Thank you.
What Dante and I decided to do was to go through all of our members, or at least the most active ones, because some of our members don't even have social media accounts. And we asked them to get in touch with their communications officers, or people who always have all the information and who know what needs promoting and what doesn't. And by doing that, so by only talking to the communications officers and not the CEOs or the leaders, we actually realized we could get information much more quickly. So my suggestion for you or for Borislava, unless Bori, you've already done it and you're already working on it, would be to collect contact details for all of our members' youth groups.
Yeah,
there probably aren't that many. There are a few, or if they're not youth group presidents, they might be policy officers dealing with youth-related activities.
Already we had the EPF survey that went out recently. It was to all our members, and there was a question included in the survey which was asking whether or not they have a youth representative or somebody that is just in touch with the youth kind of community within the organization. So we're still collecting the responses, but soon we're going to have all of them. And Nicola from the youth group, he's not present at the training right now, but he's been working on mapping of the youth groups for a while now. So we're going to have a very long list, I hope, with youth representatives, who we can contact, and just youth groups who we can stay in touch with.
Excellent. That is very, very good. And if you can create your own little mailing network just with youth group representatives or people dealing with youth group, that will make accessing information and your life generally so much easier. So it's excellent that you're already doing it. Well done. Right. Unless there are no other questions, we can get on to this slightly amusing activity. You should tell me now, all of you, can you? Yes, sorry, I can't. I can't actually see your microphones, so I don't know if someone's talking or not. Who's this?
Yes, I'm. Can you hear me? It's Jana. Can you hear me?
Not very well, but I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Just a quick question. What is the best time to post on Facebook during the day? What is the best time?
Through your, you mean obviously through your, I would say from your personal accounts anytime, through professional accounts working hours. So morning or afternoon. I wouldn't post late in the evening because people usually usually are out of work and out of the office, and you would want to assume that they're not spending time on their phones or computers. We usually post, I usually schedule for between 10 and 11 or 3 and 4 in the afternoon. So not so away from basically away from lunch breaks or evening breaks, during a time where you know that people are definitely working, I would say, for Facebook. Your timing seemed okay for the youth group page. I didn't see any posts at like 1 in the morning or you know, those would not be advised. Yep. Also, I mean, if you are using a professional page and if you post too late at night, you might not be taken too seriously by people. They might think, oh, okay, why is this person writing at 1 a.m.? What has he been doing? Is she drunk or something? So I would keep it, I don't know, within working hours, let's say.
Yeah, Emily, just to add to that point, Jan, I think that you should look at your analytics for your pages and see which hours or which posts you get the most engagement on. So it's a bit of a testing at the start. So try posting at 10, posting at 11, posting at 2, posting at 6, and start to notice the patterns of where you get the most engagement and the most, I guess, views, and then start to base your posting on that.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for that, Dante. Analytics are very important. I was going to raise this at the end of the presentation because I don't know if we're going to have time to cover everything. What I would actually suggest is, especially as only, you know, you've only just had some reshuffling of youth group roles and you've only started to update your social media channels a bit more regularly, let's say. I would after this training, I would give it a try for a couple of weeks, and then I would like to get in touch with you again, either with a second call or in an email, and I would like to send you this document on how to actually use your analytics, because analytics aren't that simple or that straightforward to understand if you've only just started, because you might look at the analytics on Facebook. It will give you lots of numbers. This is what happened to me when I was first on the analytics. It gives you a lot of numbers and you don't really know where to look. So it depends on what you want to do, really. I mean, it depends if you want more visibility, if you want more followers, if you want to see what's your most engaging posts. There are lots of different types of trends and analytics that you can do. But definitely, I will show you the analytics at the end, and if it helps, we can look at this specific part and specific timings. Definitely, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem. Can we move on, maybe? Or is there anything else? 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm assuming there isn't.
If there is anything, they can post it in the chat and I can let you know afterwards. No worries.
Right. Okay. So this post, yay or nay? Hi guys, don't miss the EPF Congress in November, especially the section on young patient advocates, there's a registration link, there is a picture, and there are lots of tagged people. Would this be a good post or a bad post? What do we think? Microphones on.
I think on the Eurodis webinar that we did not so long ago, they told us to be cautious of how many people we actually tag. Would that be right? Not to tag loads and loads and loads of people?
I'm not sure about that. I'm talking about people tagged in the picture, not in the actual body of the post. Yeah, sorry, I should have been more specific.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I meant like in the picture. For me, this would be an example of good. This would be a good practice, because if you tag people, that appears on people's that appears as a notification. People will see it and people will reshare it again. And generally, it's good to relay information. There is a registration link. That means that the post is useful. The sentence is fairly short, and there is also a picture. That means it's a visual. I would say this would be an okay format. Dear followers, we would cordially like to invite you to fill out the registration form herewith. Anyone?
Informal?
Good or bad? It's extremely formal. So I would say no, because this is not the kind of thing you want to post on Facebook. This sounds like a formal invitation to a garden party at the Queen of England's. I mean, this is a bit. This would be a bit too much. You want to find a balance. I mean, I'm guessing you. Yeah, well, you get that. Hi everyone, take a look at the latest entries to our youth group here. Link to the youth group page on our website, and picture of Erato, Erin, and Nicola and Anastasia and the other youth group members. Did someone say something?
Yeah, sorry, I was just saying it sounds good.
Sorry, can't hear. Yeah, I would say this is good too. It's got the right kind of language for a youth group. It's nice and short, shows a link, it shows a picture, and its purpose is just to introduce the new youth group members, and it goes straight to the point. Yo, guys, check them out. You youth group members' profiles. Peace out. And 7 emojis. That's a bit too informal.
Yeah.
That's a bit too informal and very, I don't know, street-like jargon, and also don't overload with it with the emojis. Emojis are a good idea. I would post like 1 or 2, maybe one for, if the post is a little bit lengthy for some reason, maybe 1 for each sentence. Otherwise 1, maximum 2. We never try and overdo them. Like we would not do this. Hi everyone. Take a look at the latest entries to our EPF staff. Link, picture. We're happy to introduce Emily. Emily is born and raised in. She has this, and this. She is this. She does. She enjoys.
No.
Why?
Too much information.
There is too much information, exactly. Basically, if you're already sharing a link to this person's bio, you don't need to repeat it. You don't need to put it again into a Facebook post. All you have to, all you're doing is introducing Emily, and you might want to, if she's a patient advocate and she's representing a disease organization, or she's one of your member representatives, you might want to say that, because that is specific to EPF and youth group and chronic conditions. But where she was born and where she was raised, it sort of goes past the point of what we're doing here. Now, right, I wanted to quickly look at your channel now, and before we move on to Twitter, because I think I rabbit on far too much and we're already running a little late. This is EPF, so no. Let me just turn these off. So, no, again, this is EPF. There we go. So, right, I want you to look at this one. It would be great if you could complete this survey from the World Health Organization, which focuses on youth and healthcare. We contacted the team that is leading this and we'll be in touch with them regarding this. Please complete if you can. Now, what do we if we have to put our editing caps on, what do we think of this sentence? How does it read? For me, it's clear. It's clear what you want to do. You want people to answer the survey. You're saying where it's from. Well, that's good. You're showing that it's that it's a reliable source. It's the WHO. You're saying what the survey is about, youth and healthcare. Brilliant. Maybe sometimes it sounds a bit long-winded. The team that is leading this, and we'll be in touch with them regarding this. Also, I'm not sure that is entirely relevant, because it's quite clear that we will then that there is a team that we're all going to be in touch with. So if it were me, I would just say, please complete this survey on World Health Organization. It's on youth and healthcare. That's already enough. And again, here it says, please complete if you can. Again, that's repeating complete the survey. You've already said that. So I would only say it once. Hashtags are okay. They don't really have the same function as they do on Twitter. People can monitor hashtags very easily on Twitter, and that's why we use them. On Facebook, they're not entirely necessary, but you can use them for visibility. For example, if it's you talking, having your hashtag #WeAreEPF is very, very good. And these are also fine. I would say 1, maximum 2, though, maybe not 3. Let's go down a bit. Oh, why is this? Okay, this is giving our posts. 1 second. Should have refreshed. There we go. This is the one I wanted to talk about. Today is National Selfie Day, the day to celebrate yourself and your selfies. Thanks to social media and the smartphone today, we recognize a form of self-portrait that couldn't exist without them. So don't forget to post your selfies and to tag us. Hashtag World Selfie Day, we are EPF, EPF Patient Advocacy. And there is no picture. What do we think?
You definitely need a picture. It's selfie day. You have to show them what you're doing.
Yes, that's one thing. Anything else? What is the point of talking about selfies? Why do you think it's important to share? Do you think it's relevant to share that it's a form of self-portrait that we couldn't exist without them? It's true, but why? If it were me, and if I think of selfies, what comes to my mind is that they're kind of a form of empowerment. I mean, it's about putting yourself in front of the camera and showing yourself actively, rather than having something that's planned or putting yourself behind the camera. And I think that's why it caught on as a trend. So it's actually, I think they're a symbol of confidence. So you could say maybe something like, show yourself on National Selfie Day, take a selfie and share it here. Also, the fact that you're saying, so don't forget to post your selfies and to tag us, and you haven't even shared one yourself of the youth group, it's unlikely that you're going to be getting people commenting underneath and sharing their selfies. So indeed, as Dante said, I would definitely either do a collage of all of you taking a selfie of yourselves, or even sharing different pictures. Or another thing, if you don't have time to do any of that, you can collectively message the entire youth group, either on your WhatsApp group or somewhere, and you can share in the comments. Share your picture in the comments. That way, people are more likely, I think, would be more likely to do the same if they see people already doing it. So you should also be the initiators as the youth group. I will look at one more, and then I will then ask you if you have any more specific information about specific posts. I will get back to you because I've had a look at quite a few, but I'm cautious that we won't be able to finish or get through the entire Twitter. So right, here we have yesterday, some of the EPF youth group members, including Erin, Anastasia, Jana, and Sally, took part in the Euroaudit Digital School webinar titled Helping Patient Organizations Plan and Create for Social Media Successes. This webinar was very informative, helpful, and provided many tips and tricks for enhancing anyone's social media pages and platforms. Now we hope you can see the tips and tricks we have learned. Thank you, Euroaudit, for this amazing learning experience. And then you tag them, and you've got the hashtags. Anyone? I mean, I know what I want to say, but given what we've just discussed, I thought maybe you had an idea as well.
I like it. It might be a bit too lengthy, but other than that, I think it's quite on point.
Yeah, well, it's definitely on point. It's definitely worth sharing. I mean, people want to know what you're all doing, and you're all very busy, and you're going to all these activities involving all of our members. So it is definitely a very relevant information. What bugs me a little bit is just saying the webinar was very informative and helpful. Again, I fail to understand why. It would almost make more sense to just say the webinar gave us many tips and tricks to improve our social media pages. Again, saying that it's informative is information which is irrelevant. Thank you for this amazing learning experience. Yes, because this goes back to the fact that you're a youth group and that you want to sound a little bit informal from time to time. So you can say things like, this was an amazing experience from time to time without overdoing it. At EPF, like on our channel, we probably wouldn't be using these words, but you can. So remember that you can do this. Okay, no, actually, I did say I wasn't going to do any more, but I do want to do this one. Just have a look at the post and tell me what you think is wrong with it.
No link.
There's no reference to, there is no any members. If we do have members who work with autism, I think we do. It's always worth checking to see if there are any if the disease days are affiliated with our members. If they are not, then you don't need to then you don't need to mention them. But if there are, then you must refer to them and tag them. Even if they don't really have an initiative, you can say something like, we raise awareness for our member. I don't know, this isn't a real member, by the way, International Autism Organization. This is just fake. I'm just saying it. We raise awareness for their work, and we take the opportunity to remind you all about autism and then something about the spectrum. What you guys said. What about the sentences? Are they long or are they short?
Long. For me, as a I forgot the word, dyslexic person, this is very hard to like, if I'm at the end of the sentence, I already forgot what's on the beginning of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course. I mean, I don't think it just goes for the dyslexics. I think everyone, again, the concentration span, people, they're quite wordy, the sentences, and people want to get to the point. Also, the first sentence is 4 sentences long. 4 lines long. That's a lot. Try and shorten your sentences if you can. There's a little bit too many hashtags. I would say Autistic Pride Day and We Are EPF because it's yours. Those aren't really needed. again, think about if they're relevant. Even autism would have been better because it's about autism, but people already know your young patients. So maybe have your We Are EPF, because it kind of has become your hashtag, and also because our president Marco created it, and he's very, very proud of it. So so we have to keep going with that. Okay, I'm going to shut up about Facebook now. We're going to move on to Twitter, if that's okay. I hope everything was clear until now. This we've already discussed. Less is more, so avoid long sentences, avoid repeating something which is already in the article. Think about, am I stating the obvious? Again, going back to the post saying we are going to liaise with the group and then get back to them after you give us the answers of the survey. Again, that's quite clear. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sharing the survey. Always include a link and a visual and a video to your posts. This is another thing we didn't really say. Use questions and talk to your audience. How about you? How about your selfie? How about, did you take a picture for Selfie Day? Share it with us. Ask questions. People love questions. People like stories. Also when you said yesterday, I don't know if it was yesterday or Sally attended Euraudi's summer school. There was a webinar on social media. This is nice. This is good language because this is telling a story. There was this, there was that. If you use the past tense, that's people like to read that usually. Again, it shouldn't be too wordy, but if the subject is a story, that's always very, very nice. So stories and questions, asking questions, are something I would definitely do always in social media. Always double check who your source is. Again, first you said the survey is from the WHO, very good. And be very careful with industry. Now, again, I would suggest to go on our website and have a look at the pharma industries that we've been collaborating with. I would also go on the finance and transparency section of our website to have a look at the list of our funders and who our industry is. That way you might recognize some names like MedTech Europe, also FPR, the European Association for Pharmaceutical Industry. FPR tag us a lot on Twitter. Let's say that it makes pharma industries look good to be involved with patients and patient communities and fostering patient involvement. And generally that's a good thing. We welcome that. But be very careful when retweeting. Don't confuse the posts. If they're tagging us in a joint event where, say, our Director of Policy, Kaiser Monen, is speaking, then it's fine. Then it's fine to retweet. But be careful with giving them too much visibility. Always check if you're tagged. If they tag us in something which is related to one of their products or something which is not really related to patient involvement, don't do it. And if you have any doubts about this, because again, I'm also not really an expert on industry. I still double check with our SMT, with Kaiser and with Elena, if I can share some things in the weekly or if they're too pharma oriented, because I sometimes don't know either. But so that's why it's always good to double check who your source is and whether it's okay to share things related to industry. I'm now going to go on. So if I don't stop you for questions, it's probably because we're again stuck with time. But if you have other questions, write them in the chat room, or we'll tackle them at the end of the talk. Oh, I've done this twice. Oh, okay. Do this twice. Why? Okay, yes. All right. So this here I shared. I'm going to share this presentation with you, by the way. Here I just had an example on how we can refer to our members. On World Diabetes Day, we take the opportunity to raise awareness on the work of IDF Europe. Diabetes affects your blood sugar levels, and it affects many young patients worldwide, or something like that, depending on what you want to say. But this is an example of how you can refer to your members. Yvette suggested that I say when should we refer to EPF activities and when they're not. Well, generally I would say yes, do it. When in doubt, share, because you're now becoming much more prominent, and this year you also have a seat on the board as youth group. So the more involved you are with EPF work, the better. Again, I wouldn't perhaps do absolutely everything. If EPF have published something, so if the newsletter is out, or if we've shared a position paper, we shared one, we launched one last week, for example, on the pricing of medicines, then yes, share it. It's also quite relevant to, you should understand whether it's relevant to you guys or not. For example, the pricing of medicine absolutely is. It's something which really does affect everyone. It's also quite technical and quite political. So if you show awareness of that, people will take you much more seriously as a youth group. So the more engaged you are with this type of EPF work, the better. Right, now we're going to talk about Twitter. Again, I'll try and keep it brief. We've already said that sending real-time updates is the main reason for using Twitter. You can also use it to take part in or follow a conversation. Yes, the retweets and hashtags reach people outside your normal audience because, like I said, what you share and what gets retweeted by your followers then appears on their followers' homepage. So your message gets multiplied a lot. Shorter lifespan, that's why we actually share more on Twitter than on Facebook, because 92% of engagement with a tweet happens within the first hour after being tweeted. That means that after 1 hour, your tweets go and they disappear and people might forget about them. That's why on live tweeting, we usually schedule so many tweets and we tweet every 5 minutes, because that's the real way to make an impact. The more you post on Twitter, the better. Obviously, it's more relevant if you actually have an event where you can do live tweeting. If you don't, then I would keep it to 1 to 2 tweets a day. That would be the ideal number. And again, this would have to depend on how available you are. And 3 to 4 retweets, because guess what? Retweets are not tweets. No cheating. If you've done like 5 retweets, you might think, oh, okay, my job for today is done. No, retweets does not mean it. People know that it's not your content. So try and make the effort of developing your own content yourself.
Emily,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you please put the presentation on slideshow, because I think we can see also your desktop a bit in the back.
Yes, that's true. Wait. Okay. I do from current slide.
Yeah,
voila.
yeah, perfect.
Good.
Sorry.
Thanks for that. So yes, retweets are not tweets, so you want to balance both of them. What kind of content? Your content is actually fine. I've been, from what I see from your Twitter channel, strong statements or questions. It can be a quote. People really like quotes. People like hearing or reading what somebody has actually heard, because it looks real, and because it draws people in more, I think. It can be a clear message, an event promotion, and if you're out of content, you can mention a statistic. Did you know that there are over 150 million patients suffering chronic conditions in the whole of Europe? No? Well, then take a look at EPF website and find out more. That kind of thing. And again, I'm using a question. Again, golden rule, short message, especially short, because there is a character limit now on Twitter. Short message, hashtag, link, picture and video, and emoji if you can. Again, there is a character limit, so it's okay to shorten. Don't worry about sounding informal or abbreviations. Use the acronyms when you can. Use the numbers instead of use the figures instead of the actual words, and like the character and so on. I've already said this, that your followers become the distributors of your message, so their followers then see you and they think that that they're more likely to think that you're trustworthy and reliable. That's again the golden rule. Good or bad? Here we have a link, and then hashtag we are EPF.
Bad.
Yes, why?
Because it doesn't say what it is at all.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing about it. It's not exciting. It's just a link. It's boring. People don't want that. EPF is campaigning for equal access to healthcare in Europe and much more. Why not support this campaign, their campaign? Link to the campaign, picture, hashtag Europe for Patients. This was our hashtag for the for our elections campaign last year. And here I've tagged the MEPs, Andrei Kovachev, the ones who endorsed the ones who eventually endorsed our manifesto. Good or bad?
Good.
This one's pretty good, I would say. EPF is campaigning for equal access to manifesto in healthcare and has a manifesto with 5 key messages. We are EPF. Link. This one's tricky. Right. Okay, someone. Yes.
Would you use that as like a teaser, whereby you could write something like "click here to find out more" or something? Obviously, it would need a picture as well.
Yes, very good. It's missing a picture. I think this okay. Well, for the new youth group members who didn't really look at our campaign, this might not be explicit. Here, there is another hashtag. In the other tweet, Europe for Patients is actually the official hashtag for the elections manifesto. Here, I deliberately used the wrong hashtag, and it won't be explicit to all of you. That's why I'm explaining it now. Why is it important to use the right hashtags? That's because if you want to then see how well you performed or how many posts or how many tweets you've done, if you're giving a report to the team, and you want to show, oh, okay, I've, for the elections campaign, I've done this many tweets, I've written this many articles, and so on. If you use the right hashtag, it will be much easier for you guys to track it afterwards. That way, if you put the hashtag in the Twitter search engine, you'll be able to find everything that has been posted with that. This we did for our Congress last year. We were able to see how many people engaged, how many people also used the hashtag, how many times we used the hashtag. Hashtags are so important on Twitter, and so use the right ones. But absolutely, it is missing a picture, and it's good as a teaser for sure. Yes. Right, Instagram. We don't have an Instagram account. You should, because Instagram is for young people. Young people like sharing photos, and honestly would have more use. Would find it more useful than adults, for example. So sharing photos and finding followers through photos and through hashtags is also a way to get more people. Communication is not its main purpose. Being visually striking is. Again, the language should be fairly informal. Times and frequency, this depends very much on you. This would not be my main communication channel. This would not be the first thing I would invest in. I would ask you guys to consider it, because you're getting more followers and there's more of you on the youth group. So now that you actually have a team, there's from what I understood, there's 3 or 4 of you using the youth group social media channel. What I would do is just divide the roles amongst yourselves. Have 1 or 2 people on Facebook, 1 person on Twitter, and the other on Instagram. This is how I would do it. Now, how you divide it amongst yourselves is up to you, though. Content, again, an event, it can be a youth group gathering. Selfies for selfie day, absolutely. For selfie days, I probably would have done a series of stories for World Selfie Day. That way you could have each shared a selfie and shared it as stories, but also as an album if you wanted to make it more static. New youth group members, National Disease Days, materials and publications. Again, the post structure is very similar to the others: picture, message, tags, and hashtags. It doesn't matter at this stage if there isn't a link, because having useful posts and messaging is not Instagram's main target. Instagram's target is mainly sharing pictures. This obviously depends. I mean, some people also use links if they're desperate for people to visit a link or to visit a certain website, but I don't think it would be necessary for you. Is it worth the commitment and dedication? Last year, the answer of this question was no, in agreement with last year's youth group and team. Now I would say yes, because there's more of you on the social media team. Stories, yes, definitely invest in stories. Share them amongst yourselves. Use your WhatsApp group. Share share pictures amongst yourselves of what you're doing or where you are, or obviously making it relevant. I mean, I wouldn't just randomly share pictures of random selfies. I mean, there has to be a point. But do have a think about stories for sure. Not enough followers, because maybe you're just starting on Instagram. I would use your other channels to redirect to Instagram. I would write a Facebook post or a tweet saying, by the way, guys, we're also on Instagram. If you want to look at, if you want to access images or visuals, follow us on Instagram. I have now finished, and I have a list of tools to show you, including the scheduler. I don't think we're going to have time for the analytics that Dante suggested, but if any of you ever at any point want to know more about how to analyze the numbers on your social media accounts, let me know. Or Bori, you can talk to the youth group and then relay this to me if you want more information about analytics, and I'll be more than happy to send you instructions about that. Now I'll take questions, and then I want to show you the Twitter scheduler and the stock images. Yes.
Yep. There's already a few questions in the chat, actually. Starting with one from Marlu, and it says, are more hashtags okay on Instagram and Twitter?
Twitter, it depends on the character limit. Yes, I mean, hashtags are always important on Twitter, but if you run out of characters and you don't have enough room, say, for the rest of your message, then I would say no. I would say prioritize the message. And then, but yes, always include at least a hashtag, at least one on Twitter. On Instagram, a lot of hashtags are okay. Yeah, because people look at hashtags. Sometimes, if I want to see like a picture of a seaside in Barcelona, for example, I can just hashtag beach Barcelona or seaside Barcelona, and then a bunch of pictures related to seaside and Barcelona come up, and it's just quicker to get it. So go crazy with the hashtags on Instagram. Yes.
What are the maximum characters on Twitter?
I need to double check that. I think it's 120.
They doubled it, right?
Sorry?
They doubled it?
No, they reduced it. Last year it was reduced, as far as I'm aware. It's very, very little. It's always a challenge. It's something I would look up though, because don't quote me on it. I think it's 120, but let's check later.
Pretty reduced, yeah, for sure. Okay, so we have next question from Marlene, which is very practical. She's saying that she will probably go to a pharma advisory board on the 27th. And would that be something to share and tag them, or no?
Oh, well,
very tricky.
It depends on what. Are you a member of the pharma advisory board?
Yes, but not from the pharma industry.
No, you'd be a patient representative on the pharma board. I would check. Bori, I would check this with Elena because it's entirely delicate and it's not really my area. My advice would be no. Sorry, I know it's. I think as youth group members, you're allowed to share anything on your personal accounts, but via the EPF one, I would say no, just to keep it safe.
I think it depends if you're. Yeah,
it's a delicate situation. Yeah.
If you're representing the youth group and it was prior to accepting the invitation, accepted by EPF, so Elena checked it, Marco checked it, then we should definitely share it. If you are rather representing your women's health capacity, then it might be something. And it also depends if it's only with one pharma company or it's a general community advisory board with a number of them. But for this, I would say no.
Yes, absolutely, Yvette. You've explained it really well. Yes.
Yeah, I would be representing women, but last time I was there, there were also someone from the EPF, so I was just curious.
Okay. Well, probably if it is an EPF related representation, then in that case, as Yvette said, it could go, but generally at EPF, our colleagues tell us to lay off the farmer, even if there is someone going. For example, Kaiser goes to these quite often. I don't know if it was her who you saw at EPF, and she usually she never tells us. I mean, she never comes to the comms team and she says, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk about clinical trials with FPA and EFGCP, for example." And so we assume that it's probably we're probably not supposed to share it. If there is a publication with her name on it that refers to it, that would be yes. But if the Pharma Advisory Board is the center of the thing and it's not even an EPF, strictly EPF interest, I would say no.
All right.
But that's a very good question, Marlene, and I think we should come back to this kind of, yeah, to clear this out from the kind of technical point of view for the future on our next monthly TC.
Yeah, very good idea.
Definitely.
Okay, next question we have from Yvette is, what do you think about sharing posts of non-EPF member patient organizations like Youth Cancer Europe, for instance? What about YouTube links and, for example, an American vlogger talking about disabilities and so on?
Yes to both. We can, of course, we sometimes do, because sometimes even we have partners who might be similar to EPF members who are, but they're not members, and we do share their information. I would still check and see if our members have launched a similar initiative for that day. In that case, our members need priority. If there isn't an existing one from one of our members, yeah, absolutely, just go ahead and share it for sure. And yes, this counts as other interesting information which may not be EPF affiliated, but it's still relevant for your cause. For example, the vlogger or an interesting forum or an interesting article online. Yes, of course, definitely. Yeah,
that's good. Thank you.
All right. I saw that Erato said that she has to leave very soon, and her question is there a database available with all the EPF members so they don't have to check every time? Yes, there is.
I will share this at the end of the, well, by email, I'm going to send you the PowerPoint, and I'm also going to send you the list of our members page.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Emily, so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Yes, there's another question from Marlu. Where should we post memes? I think that's a very important question. And Yvette already answered in the chat saying everywhere, but only patient-related memes.
Patient-related memes, yeah, of course. I mean, the more we have, this is all for social media. I mean, we can't be too formal, right? I mean, the more we have varied content and the more videos and memes and anything which shows us being creative, yes, definitely go for it.
But there is no link with it.
It's a picture, no?
Well, yeah. well, exactly. There should be. You can also share a link, even if you're sharing a meme. I think. I'm pretty sure you can do both.
But can you also do only the meme?
Yeah.
You can, but again, it depends on what the purpose is. Like, I don't know if you have a specific one in mind.
Yeah.
Or...
Marlo sent me something just a while ago, which was, yeah, I don't know if I can send it here, to be honest. But in any case, I feel like if we share a meme, there was, for instance, there was one opening the box of pills, and then you you always open it on the side where it's the prescription there. So you have to open it on the other side as well, again, to take out the medication. And it's something that I'm pretty sure that most patients can relate. And it's like, haha, Murphy's Law or something like this, you know? So if it's something just to maybe relate for other patients to also relate to it, and now we can say, does this also happen to you? Or, you know, something like just to make like a small joke, but also maybe ask a question.
If it's informal, if it's again, if it leads to dialogue, then I would have it on I would have it on Facebook. If it's just a meme or a GIF and just making quick points, even though it's relevant, I would just share it on Twitter. But if then that follows a conversation and something which you would want to follow on Facebook, then of course put it on Facebook. But again, maybe be mindful. Like, I wouldn't post one meme every day. Like, maybe if you see two and you've already posted one the day before, you might think, oh, okay, perhaps I shouldn't share this one now. Maybe I'll wait a few more days, because if you share too much of the same content, then you risk spamming. So yeah, I mean, you can, though. Why not?
Okay, be mindful, but also we can share it everywhere, basically, is what I'm getting.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Sure. Of course.
Okay. Yvette is asking, should we pay attention to the quality of the pictures we are sharing, those we find online?
Well, if you're sharing something which has a picture in low quality, I would definitely look them up on Google and see if you can download a better one. If it's not your own content, don't worry about it. If it's somebody else's picture and if it's low quality, there's nothing we can do, really. I usually try and look for high quality, high resolution. 300 DPI. 300 DPI is a good number to look at in these cases. But if we can't find it, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I think the question in this case was more like, if it's like an extremely pixelated image, would it still be fine to share, or should we just continue to search for another picture, let's say, not necessarily the one that we chose?
Oh, if it's of your own accord, then I would look for a high quality one. Yes, of course. But usually, if you look up, if you go on these databases which have stock images, and now I'm trying to.
This was one of the questions. Yeah, I think. Jana asked, "Is there a database for pictures which we can use in our posts? Can we have a link, please?"
Right. Okay. I should have stopped sharing my screen now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because I wanted to exit. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to share now. So, right, Bori, do you have access to Adobe Stock, basically?
I haven't even tried to enter, if I have to be honest.
Oh, okay. Because I remembered that you did. Well, maybe that was just Gozda. Basically, we have Adobe, which is Photoshop and all of that, and there's also another feature which is called Adobe Stock. So we only have access through the EPF account. So Bori, you would be the person to look at that. See, it's under Gilles' account. I'm already logged in.
You can tell me later. Yeah, that's fine. You can.
I can tell you later. But basically, if you want to look for pictures, say.
Okay. So if you guys have an idea to include a photo and you can't find the right one, you can just tell me and I can look it up in the database. Yeah.
Here we have them for free, and these are nicer. That's why I would use Adobe Stock. Or there's less of a choice, but another one with lots of free images, free of copyright, is Pixabay, and you don't even need to log in. So I would make a note of this one.
Can you also send this in the email with the rest of the things, please?
Of course, yeah. Again, there's less stuff than the other one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but
there you go. Access to medicine is only free. This one would be much better.
Okay. We have also a question from Marcus saying, should we always check with others about how a post looks before posting, and if so, who with? I can elaborate on that a little bit, because usually we have the WhatsApp group chat for the social media team that also includes me and Yvette and Anastasia. So it's more like when some of the members have a post ready and they would like to share it on social media, they more likely send it in the WhatsApp group. So we say, hey, maybe shorten it a little bit, or maybe we should include this hashtag, or maybe we should include this other picture or something like this, just for like a feedback situation, I would say, editing.
Yeah, again, and for that you can also be mindful. I mean, Marcus, you're a native speaker, so I mean, in terms of quality and language check, you don't really need that. But for example, if you're wondering whether it's too long or too short, then do. But I wouldn't have it as a general rule to check every single thing, because I mean it doesn't really matter too much.
Yep.
And if anyone sees something alarming, we can always write to each other and say, oh, you just posted this, or there is a broken link, or this doesn't work, or there is a typo, and you can just change it. The good thing about Facebook is like you can edit it, so
But on Twitter you can't, I
And
think. No?
On Twitter you can't. No.
No, and
not even on Instagram.
Just to elaborate a bit more on this. Yeah, Marlu, go, because I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
What we did before I left was someone scheduled to post on Facebook, and then someone checked it just for typos and stuff. So you can just see in the scheduled post and they're edited.
Yep.
So
that makes perfect sense as well. But the thing that I wanted to say but forgot was that I feel like this was more the case, the posting on the WhatsApp group chat and checking and so on. I feel like it was more the case before we had this training. So after this training, I'm pretty sure that we're all going to be aware of what the basics are, what exactly we need to follow through as rules and so on. So I don't think it's going to be necessary to send it in the chat anymore and so on.
Exactly. So, yeah. For the first few like trainee posts, it's okay. We are checking it together, but then we would want to trust you with your own posts and not to make it too long and have to come back to the same post for 3 times to put it in the WhatsApp, put it on the Facebook, whatever. So
yeah.
But Malu's approach was really good as well. Just schedule it on Facebook and we can check.
Okay, we have another question from Marlene, which reads, how do you know if pictures from the internet are free to use #copyright?
Well, that's on Google. You should look for free images. You usually write free images download or no copyright images download. But that's why I'm going to send you the address for Pixabay and stock images, because those are definitely free and you can definitely use them. There is no way of knowing. You just have to Google free images and then go for the website. But these 2 sources are reliable, so I will send them to you.
Okay, perfect. Marcus is asking, is it advisable to use a URL shortener for links? Very good question.
Yes, but unfortunately, they're now all of the URL shortener links I know are for subscribers, and you need a paid account to get them, which is actually a blow, because we use Bitly all the time. We always use shorteners. Some people don't like them because they think that by shortening the links, you don't really know where the sources are. But Dante and I are completely in favor of shortening links, because it's just so much better and it's so much nicer to see a short link on social media. So I would have suggested Bitly and another one called called Tiny. Sorry,
Tiny.
But,
yeah, I remember.
I will also share these with you on the email. But I'm pretty sure that both of them now want a paid account. So I don't know. I need to have a chat with Dante and see if he's willing for EPF to make an investment and actually get a paid account to shorten them. If so, I will share it with you guys and you can do it as well.
Perfect.
If we do it, I think we should.
Okay, thank you. Very, very good question from Marlene. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm reading it now.
Yeah, I just noticed that our Facebook name is European Young Patients, and on Twitter, EU Young Patients. What doesn't that make it hard to find us? Yes, it does. Yvette has already raised this concern a few times.
Yes.
And you guys, as the new social media team, might take this in your hands and rename all our accounts.
Yes, actually, guys, you do. Everyone knows you as the EPF Youth Group. You should be called EPF Youth Group.
But also, one of the questions concerning to this was, maybe Emily can explain now, do you think that there should be a post when we're renaming the group saying, hey, we changed our name, but we're still us, or something like this? Make sure to find us with the same name, EPF Youth Group, on all platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
Good idea. Yes, it wouldn't hurt to do that. However, just to reassure you that every time you do change a name of a group or of a Facebook page, the people following that page will get a notification. Some of you might have noticed that. Actually, good point. I don't know about Twitter, but Facebook,
sure.
Facebook, yes. It just says the name has changed.
Bye, Rato.
Bye, Rato. Bye. It was happy to meet you. Good idea. Yeah. You know what? I'm not too sure about Twitter, so yeah, do it.
If it's like a generic post that we can just copy paste on all the platforms, I think it should be fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, EPF. Your Twitter handle is already called
EPF Youth.
EPF Youth. That's fine. That doesn't need changing.
I think Yvette wanted to add something on that.
Yeah. Actually, we wanted to ask you, Emily and Dante, for another call, not in the short term, but maybe later, because we have a couple of comms related questions on terms of strategy. We are thinking of podcasts. Yes. And also we wanted to elaborate on the name, and should we change our logo, because the current logo is based on the previous EPF logo, so to have kind of a harmonized image.
That's such a good idea. That's such a good idea. Dante's going to be so happy. He loves podcasts. Yes. Yeah. Guys, put everything in an email and we can set up something like this anytime.
Yeah, that's great. So we are already at the follow-up. Do we have any more questions?
No, Erato just went away. Thank you so much, Emily. Great to see everybody. But yeah, okay.
It's great to see everybody. Thank you very much. I hope this was useful. Sorry it overran completely.
No,
but that's what I do. I just talk and talk about social media. I could do that anytime. If you ever have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm always here for anything.
It was perfect.
Okay, and we're expecting the email from Emily after this with all the information that she said she's gonna send us, and then afterwards we can discuss more on the next month ETC. So we're good.
Yeah, and we can try our new skills with posting post about this social media training. I made some pictures. So.
Yep, same.
Good.
Very good.
Well done, guys. Excellent. You guys are already great.
Okay.
Talk to you soon then.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Emily. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.